My last video was all about the mistakes that I think that I made with my business, the things I would do over. But today we're going to cover the things that I think I actually did a good job with, the things that I would do again and that I would advise other people to do with their businesses. So let's get into my list. Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of The Thread. My name is Kendall. I'm a Parsons graduate. I'm a mentor for people starting their clothing brands from scratch, and we talk a lot about the foundational aspects of starting a clothing brand on this channel. And I also had my own clothing line for about 7 years. So my last video was about mistakes that I think I made with my business, things I would do so differently if I ever started another brand. I will link that here. And today, I was editing that and I was like, well, I should give myself some credit because I did a lot of things right too. I did a lot of things that I would do over again in the same basic way. So in the spirit of hopefully having this help you guys, I'm going to share a list of things that I think I did a good job with. Okay, so let's get into it. And by the way, like and subscribe, leave me a comment, really helps this channel, and I'm always appreciative of you guys that are here. Okay, so number one, I'm nice. And I think I'm a good friend. And I think that this goes a long way in any industry like this. I think if you're friendly, you're generous with your time and your resources, you're genuinely a good person, a good friend, I think you end up making connections and get things that maybe you wouldn't get if you're just kind of like a lone wolf, not making friends, not making connections, maybe being kind of rude. More doors open for you, obviously, when you're just nice and when you make an effort to make connections with other people. In fact, I got hooked up with my made-to-order factory from someone that in the industry that I kind of became friends with, and she let me know about this. She knew me well enough to think that I would be interested, and I don't think I ever would have found out about this place or gotten this introduction without that. So I think it goes a long way to just make friends and go out of your way to be polite and kind. And I feel like if I were to ever have a brand again, I have enough contacts, I have enough people that like me and that will remember me to have a pretty easy time of it. So I would always recommend that to you guys, to be polite, go out of your way, to make friends, to hang on to those relationships that you form, because you never know what good things will come from it. Number two, I really strive to really educate myself throughout. Now, I know you guys are watching because you're doing the same thing. I think that this was something that I'm really proud of. I was always learning. I went to Parsons, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You can supplement your education in other ways. I took an online business accelerator that I later ended up mentoring for. So that was a great investment. It's always a great investment. And even if you don't have the money, take the time, take the effort. You kind of have to say no to other things sometimes. But I was always reading books, listening to podcasts, picking other people's brains, just getting as educated as I possibly could to be always bettering myself and always trying to better the brand. Number three, I joined an emerging niche that was popular at the time. Now, this is kind of not exactly something I control. I just kind of lucked out at the time when I was launching. It was 2017. Sustainable fashion was just becoming a thing. So I kind of was there at the right time. Now it's not as much of a thing as its own niche. We could talk about that at another time. But at the time I joined, I was offering something kind of new and different because I genuinely felt like sustainable fashion's kind of coming on the scene. Vegan fashion is kind of becoming a thing, but there's not enough of it out there yet where I wouldn't be able to make an impact. So I definitely came on the scene, and I felt that at the time vegan fashion was kind of like slogan t-shirts or maybe specialty items like coats. You couldn't just find everyday women's wear in the way that and that's where I stepped in. I created a brand that I kind of wanted to see out there. And so I think that was partly just luck and partly me being smart about choosing the right direction to go in. I did a lot of research. I made sure that, and I was involved in that world because I actually worked for a vegan brand that made coats and things like that. And I knew that there was enough of a following and enough of an interest that I could do something and have it be impactful to people. So I think that was something that I would definitely do again and make sure to really concentrate on getting into the right niche at the right time. You want to get something that's gaining popularity. You don't want to have something that's been around for a long time. There's lots of other brands doing it. And it's kind of like maybe on its way down in interest. Sustainable fashion now, and I should do a whole episode about this, it's not enough on its own as a niche. It's not as popular anymore, just on its own to say like, we're XYZ brand, but we're sustainable. That doesn't cut it for people anymore. So you want to pick something that's kind of gaining momentum. But anyway, watch my video on choosing the right niche for more about that. Number 4, I tackled this business like it was my full-time job. Okay, so I talk about this in other episodes, but in order to be successful, you really need to make this a part of your life. There's always going to be excuses. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough, whatever. But you have to basically make the time. You have to be kind of obsessed with this and give it your 110% for as long as you possibly can. And I really did that right. I think I was busy too. I had several part-time jobs. I had a kid. I think when I started, he was just entering kindergarten. So I did have that little bit of free time finally opening up. But overall, I was busy just like anybody else. But I really dedicated myself to this. I made this my number one job. And that's something I would definitely do again and recommend. Okay, number 5, this is something I might have a little bit paid the price for, but I am proud of myself that I had genuine morals and ethics when it came to my brand. So I was very passionate about vegan fashion. I was very passionate about sustainable fabrics, about ethical production, and I really was 100% genuine in everything I said that we did. I feel that I was truly as sustainable as I possibly could have been in every way, right down to the packaging, the labels, blah, blah, blah. And now it's sad because I look at so many brands that are successfully greenwashing and just pulling the wool over customers' eyes. I get the sense that a lot of brands do not give a shit, but they're marketing in such a way that they're fooling a lot of people, okay? So like these overseas factories, if they have some type of certification, they're gonna say, oh, we're ethical. This is not necessarily true. Or I've seen brands where, because they just use cotton and linen, they say that they're sustainable. This is not true. Cotton uses more pesticides than any crop on earth, okay? But they're saying, oh, we're natural, we're sustainable because we use these natural fabrics. No, you're not. You're greenwashing. But I am just always proud of myself because I was truly so honest and so ethical. And it did cost me because, I did made in the USA production, which costs a lot more, which makes my price point so much higher, which makes it harder for me to sell things. But anyway, I did it, and I'm very proud of myself to this day for being one of the brands that actually was super honest and that was making every single effort to be sustainable. Okay, number 6. Okay. So I did everything that it was involved with running a brand. And I know I put this on my last list as something that was a bit of a detriment to me. And it was in some ways because it really stretched me so thin. But when I look back, I'm like, wow, I really did every single part of running a brand. Every single part, I I made a resume recently and I was like, wow, this list is really long of the skills that I have because of this. So yes, in the future, I think I would hire somebody to take on some of this, but I'm glad that I did it. So what I recommend to all of you guys is try it. Don't try to do every single thing forever for the whole time you're in business, but try everything. Try making your own website, so that you will learn that. Trying doing the press outreach yourself, try doing the marketing yourself. So you have all these skills that are amazing skills to have, but maybe see what, you don't like doing or you're not as good at. You can hire help for that. But it's great to be able to say that I did all of those things and now I have all those skills so I can share those with you guys essentially. So that's my list. I hope that gave you some insight on some things that I would recommend that people do, and that I'm really proud of myself for sticking with. And yeah, let me know what you thought about this episode. Let me know what is on your list if you have a business, and like and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you guys really soon in my next episode.